These are 7 dark psychology tricks that women use against men every single day. If you don't know these, you can be tricked into feeling guilty when you have done nothing wrong, to feel jealous, insecure, and fall for her games every single time. So it's really important that you learn these. I'm going to be breaking these down as someone who was a naive, insecure kid who was absolutely clueless to the game and got played in my first relationship, to someone who has gone on to be a playboy and really get a good sense of the game and see these things play out time and time again and be able to recognize them and teach them to you so you don't have to make the same mistakes and feel the pain that I have felt. So by the end of this, you're going to be able to see through the tricks that girls play on you and be able to take power back into your own hands. Starting with the first one, which is going to be controversial, which is that girls' tears are only genuine in private. A girl will cry to elicit guilt out of a guy, and it works really well. So the person I've seen this happen to more times than I can count is my best friend. Him and his girl have been dating for about 2 years now. And in social settings, when he's just talking to people completely normal, with me, just in different groups socializing, which is very common in Scandinavia, it's not weird at all to talk to girls, guys, and just be very social. Maybe as it could be in like the States or other Western cultures, it's very, very normal to talk to absolutely everybody, even when you have a girlfriend. And if she gets a little bit jealous, she will start to cry. I have seen this happen so many times. It'll just be this like little argument and she cries and she's upset about how he's socializing too much and talking to a girl or just like not paying enough attention to her. This one, oh my God, I've seen this one happen so many times. She's like, you're not even paying any attention to me. And it's like, it's a social setting. They spend fucking 7 days a week with each other. It's completely fine if he were to just talk to other people and socialize, but she gets jealous, she wants more attention, and she cries, and he feels bad, and then guess what? He's giving her all the attention once again, and he's not socializing. I lose my fucking friend for the night. It works like it's a textbook play, and she knows she's got him with the tears. So anytime she wants more attention or she doesn't want him talking to as many people, she just cries. It is that powerful. So you have to be super careful with this one. And guys, in dealing with all of these 7 manipulation plays that girls will have, communication is your only weapon that you have. If you know how to communicate effectively, if you can understand female psychology and you can be an effective dynamic communicator in any situation, you will be able to handle yourself. So for that reason, I built you my high-level communication guide. This breaks down all the different communicative strategies that I use to succeed in dating and just in life in general. It is extremely powerful and it's completely for free. It's the first thing in the description below. And the second one is a shit test wrapped up as a joke. Girls will do this all the time. They'll try and shit test you, but make it as a joke, so it's kind of an easy out and play it off like it wasn't a big deal. But you need to handle these like a G. So let me give you an example from 2 to 3 years ago. I don't remember exactly how long it was at this point. But I was at the club seeing this girl, and we were just talking every single time we would be there, and there was definitely some sort of spark between us. There was some attraction. I knew it from the first time I met her and I stared into her eyes. I can just know these things. And the thing is, we didn't get with each other that night. We didn't do anything actually for a while. We were just seeing each other at the club and talking. And the thing is, she was a lot taller than me. So I'm about 5'7". She was probably 5'11" or even 6 foot. So she's a tall girl. But there was that attraction there. We definitely liked each other. And this went on for a couple weeks. And at one point, we were sitting talking to each other. And I was talking about going home with her. And then she was like, don't you care that I'm so much taller than you? She was like, don't you care that you're kind of short? And I was like, I literally just looked her in the eyes. I said, no. And then she was like, okay. And I said, let's get out of here. And she was like, okay. And then we left. And I brought her home to my place and everything was fine. So girls will shit test you sometimes and make them jokes and, play it off like it's supposed to be funny. But they're really just trying to test if you will break frame, if you're going to be like if you start getting all defensive and you get all reactive and emotional, I guarantee in that situation I just told you that she would not have come home with me if I just didn't look her in the eyes, smile, and say no. And then not even make anything of it. it wouldn't have gone the same way if I got emotional and defensive and all reactive. So that's really what you want to do in those situations. That is how you can regain control, is just keeping calm composure and sticking to your frame. And this third one, a lot of you guys are going to be able to relate to, which is a girl saying, he's just a friend. That is the biggest lie ever. 90% of the time, he is not just a friend, because like I said, I've been a playboy for the last 4 years, and there's been girls who I've gotten with multiple years ago, and now they have boyfriends, and then when I meet them out at the club or something, they're like, oh yeah, this is Sebastian, he's just a friend. Nah, it's not how it went. So, you got to be able to be very cautious of that. And the thing is, if you say anything and you start being insecure about her saying that, then she's just going to start to attack you on the whole thing of, oh, why are you being insecure? He's just a friend. And in reality, things usually did happen. But if they didn't, then they're just going to really try and attack you with that whole insecure thing and play it against you. So you have to be very careful with how you actually handle her saying this. A lot of the time, you just have to be an extremely good judge of character and be able to read people and look into their eyes and look into the little micro expressions in their face and see how they say that, because there's usually small tells which will allow you to know these things, right? The way that they interact is just going to be different if they were truly friends, whereas if they had some sort of history. And that's usually going to be the best route in terms of really determining that. And also having been on the other side of things, seeing having the feeling of being that guy who hasn't just been a friend, you kind of know how you act. You're like, you make a little face and you'll be able to recognize that face in others. So that's why I'm personally preaching that you should be a playboy if you want to have a good relationship, because you need to see all these things play out and see how different girls will say different things. Girls that you thought were good, genuine girls, a couple of years later, they turn out they're saying, oh yeah, Seb was just a friend introducing you to their boyfriend, So you got to be really careful with that and learn to be a really good judge of character. That would probably be the biggest defense against her saying that. And this next one can be really difficult to notice in the heat of an argument or when emotions and tensions are high, which is the guilt flip. Her saying something like, a real man would, or attacking your masculinity is one of the easiest things that she can do to really get a rise out of you and get you to comply with whatever she wants. Once again, guilt is the most powerful emotion to leverage. Love and guilt are the two most powerful emotions. Remember that. So if she knows you love her and she can utilize guilt, she has a lot of control. And you have to be very careful to not fall into these traps where she flips the scripts and tries to use guilt against you using simple things like just saying, a real man would, or I know guys who do this for their girlfriends, or anything like that is going to be that simple guilt flip. So you just got to be very careful for it. Watch out. Listen if you hear those words in some sort of similar arrangement, then no, she's probably playing that script on you, and it's a timeless classic. It's so simple, but it works so well. So you just got to really be attentive to hearing those sorts of things and know when to detach and just stop the whatever's going on, because it's never going to be anything good that comes out of it. And this next one applies to the early stages of things when you're initially talking to a girl. And this is probably my specialty, because these last 4 years, that's all I've been doing. It's just that initial talking stage, developing things further. But I've been constantly talking to girls, getting in that early stage, seeing it work out, seeing it go nowhere. And one of the things that some girls will do, which is they'll just try and use you for attention, kind of faking interest, but not want to hang out or, take the next steps. And that is really one of the worst things. It's just like, you're wasting your time not getting anywhere. I don't care just to talk to a girl online and not meet her and develop things further. That's not of interest to me. But for her, she might just want that male validation, some guy who's attractive, who's cool to talk to her and whatever, but she doesn't really want to take things to the next level. So you got to be careful of this. I mean, if you like wasting your time, go ahead and fucking waste your time, but I don't like to waste my time. So I'll tell you the remedy, which is you really just want to push for a meeting or a hangout. And if you don't get that, and if it doesn't really pan out, I would just end things there, not end things like autistically and be like, we can't talk anymore. Because here in Scandinavia, everything is on Snap. So if it's on Snap, just stop snapping her. If you see her in the club again, it's not going to matter. You can still go up and say hi to her. It's fine. But if you're trying to push for a hangout when you're texting her, talking to her, and she doesn't want to do it, then you got to kind of just end things at a certain point. You can give it maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 tries if you're talking a bit, but if it gets to that point, there's no value in continuing to talk to her. You just have to end things and realize that she's just using you for attention. She doesn't actually want to take things further, meet with you and develop things, because if she did, she would. It's really that simple. There's so many girls who I meet who I can set up a hangout with very, very quickly because they're actually interested. And you'll notice the difference over time after talking to a lot of girls. So sometimes there's actual excuses that are valid and play out or whatever. And girls can be really good at disguising if they're faking interest. So you got to be careful. But I would say after 2 attempts, you're really starting to get into the red zone, and you should just consider ending things. And this next one is a girl using social media to exhibit jealousy. So this is something that happened to me in my relationship at 19. Take in consideration, I was absolutely clueless and naive at this time, but this one fucked with me. So she was always posting these sort of thirst traps on Snap, saying what's the move for tonight, or something like that. And it was just something that a girl in a relationship shouldn't have been doing. Even if a girl was in a talking stage with you, she can definitely leverage this to kind of keep you on your toes and make you a little bit jealous. And it was very irritating as a guy, because you know that all the guys who are in her phone, who you've seen, are just going to be spamming her, trying to hang out with her. So it just creates this very unhealthy dynamic of you definitely feeling jealous. It's very difficult to not feel jealous in a situation like that. So a girl leveraging social media to make you jealous is a big red flag. And in a situation like this, where a girl's doing that in a relationship, I don't even think that's worth continuing. You just have to really deprioritize her in your mind and start looking for another girl, because that relationship is doomed to fail, as it did for me. And this last one is her talking to other guys to make you jealous. This can be applied in different situations. So this can be a girl you just met at the club who's talking to another guy within proximity of you, being a little bit overly flirtatious, laughing too much so that you see and you can get kind of jealous. Or it could be in a relationship, which goes back to the last point a little bit, and it's kind of similar. And that's just kind of doomed to fail if a girl's dating you, but she's being overly flirtatious and talking to too many guys or hanging around a lot of guy friends. Things like that is just an obvious red flag that this is not going to last long. But this is something that girls will do to exhibit jealousy, because it's very easy for girls to talk to guys and get guys to engage with them. And that is naturally going to arise jealousy. It's a very common thing that most people are not immune to. So they know this, and they'll do that in order to spike your interest even further. So it's just something you have to be aware of. And one of the best things that you can do is pay her no attention when she does something like this. Go off on your own and start chatting to a bunch of girls yourself, because then they're not gonna, it's kind of like you're not giving her the validation and the power that she craves from doing this. You're just ignoring her completely. And ignoring a girl is actually one of the most powerful tools that you have. So if she's trying to do any petty plays like this, especially if you're just in those earlier stages, like if it was in the club setting and you just met the girl or you're just getting to know her, that's one of the best things that you can do, is just kind of ignore her and not give her any power for this. That will be the best thing to do in that situation. And once again, understanding high-level communication is going to be the key to you navigating all these manipulation plays and tricks that girls have, and just overall being the best version of yourself and having the most success in a relationship and socially all comes down to your ability to be a dynamic communicator. So I outlined everything of how I became a really great communicator in this guide, and it's completely for free. It's the first link in the description below.